Greetings, everyone. So we're back here with another episode here with Rough Cuts, talking about everything tech related. You have myself, Jerry's Glover, and we have here with me
Got Anthony Jones, AJ in the house.
AJ in the house.
What's up? What's up?
So here, we're just uncovering, just information in regards to everything tech. You know, we do want to say Happy Cybersecurity Awareness Month. The month of October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So we thank all our professionals and our experts and our students and everyone out there that's making a change in cybersecurity and tech for the month of October. Last episode, we introduced ourselves and gave you a bit of background information on who we were and what we do in the industry and how we got here. Today, we're going to talk about digital forensics, right? Which is not being a detective in the cyber realm,
Hmm,
right?
absolutely.
So today's topic, um, we'll talk about a tool that we utilize called Autopsy.
All right. All right. And as time goes on, folks, I will be giving my perspective from the cyber threat intelligence aspect of it. I haven't used Autopsy since college, and it's been like many, many moons before. So my man Glover here is the subject matter expert. I'm more like the novice, just kind of following his lead. So I will be giving my perspective from what I remember from the tool, and then also from a cyber threat standpoint. So, Glover, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Let you get it kicked off.
All right. Thank you for that. So as I stated, we're going to talk about digital forensics, but using the tool Autopsy. Right. So what is digital forensics, right? A lot of people ask, what is digital forensics in cyber tech? And my little bubble is being a detective in technology, right? But the dictionary, um, the dictionary information says that is a branch of forensic science that involves the investigation and recovery of material found in digital devices, often in relation to cybercrime, right? So what does that mean? We use investigation and recovery tools in computer forensics, right? So information is stored on a hard drive or on a disk, and that information can be recoverable, right? Mobile devices. We all use mobile devices these days. Smartphones, any mobile device has stored information that can be recovered. Network forensics, right? Information that goes in and out the network is traceable. A tool that is also used is called Wireshark, where we analyze information that's going through in and out of the network. Cloud forensics. We know that cloud computing is um, a thing now, right? Where information is stored in the cloud. So we have that information backed up to servers where we can extract information off our servers um, to be able to investigate our findings. And memory forensics, where information is stored in your memory, where we extract that information to be able to detect and uncover information in regards to our digital forensics.
hmm And if I could interject, digital forensics is hot right now because there is so much cybercrime, espionage, people doing bad things on these devices that, we have to hire people that know digital forensics to go in there, do the investigations, try to figure out what they took, when they took it to build a case against these individuals, especially the insider threat when they're
Right.
trying to hide information inside of information or steganography and trying to extract that information like proprietary software or information from a company. Intellectual property is another thing. That's where digital forensics really comes into play. So people who, know how to do that, they are making some money and it is a
Yeah.
hot job right now.
Like I tell people with digital forensics, we want to know the who, what, when, where, and why. Maybe
Absolutely.
how.
Yep.
How does it, like who was responsible for the information? What happened? When did it happen? Timestamp. Why did it happen? And how did this information or how did this thing come about? We have a lot of threat actors and
Mhm.
different groups out there who's trying to, infiltrate or penetrate different, networks and systems to where, you know, we need to understand how they infiltrated the system. Sometimes we have, user error, you know, that's a big thing, user error is a big thing, it wasn't done maliciously, and that's where incident response comes from, right?
Mhm.
How do we respond to incidents that may occur on our systems, right? And in the later slide we'll talk about incident response and how we set that up in regards to finding and protecting our networks and our systems.
Yeah, let's get to it, man.
All right. So digital forensics importance, right? We have digital forensics that spans over multiple areas, including crime investigation, data protection, and also cybersecurity. As we stated just a few minutes ago, incident response is when a cyber attack happens or data breach occurs. Digital forensics helps identify how the attack happened. So, like we were talking about earlier, how did someone penetrate our system and what happened? Um, Also, what data was compromised and who was responsible for that data? Was it an insider threat? Was it an adversary?
Mhm.
Someone outside trying to penetrate a system? There are so many factors that may occur in regards to incidents that may occur on your network or within an organization, you know, that we can look at. Tracking malicious activity. You know, Experts can trace cyber attacks back to their source, back to their IP addresses, like I talked about earlier in regards to Wireshark. Be able to track information through that comes in and out of networks, right? So we utilize that too in regards in cybersecurity, just to analyze and trace, what's coming in and what's going out and what that looks like. Preventing data loss. Each company wants to safeguard their information as much as possible in regards to having data, you know, extracted or lost through a network. It says it helps organizations recover data lost due to hacking or accidental deletion, right? User error again. That may be someone accidentally deleting information, right? So
Mhm.
just preventing these things happening and having a plan in place in regards to safeguarding our organization um, from future threats or future incidents that may occur.
Yeah, and another thing is the prevention of data loss bit. Sometimes we need to, well, not sometimes, all the time, we need to figure out why the data loss prevention or DLP failed to stop that information from getting out of an organization.
Mhm.
So is there a new attack out there that we don't know about that, adversaries are using to bypass the DLP or maybe, DLP is not even in play. That is
Right.
another thing that we got to keep in mind.
Right.
And with these attacks happening now maliciously, like ransomware, I gave a brief, not too long ago. We are at over 4,000 ransomware attacks, like from the beginning of the year to today. And that's like 15 ransomware attacks every day since 1 January of this year. So this kind of stuff is important, man. I mean, it's,
Very important.
oh my God. I mean, I can't even
Yeah.
imagine like, what we would do or what would happen if we didn't have digital forensics there to kind of help us figure out the threat vectors, because you said tracking information coming in and out of this, the company.
Right.
That'll tell us like, okay, who we're dealing with potentially, where they're
Mhm.
going next, and then how to find them and to stop them.
Now, could you explain or elaborate on the tools that you may use in regards to learning about different adversaries, tactics, techniques, and procedures that they use in order to infiltrate a system?
Sure. So one of the things that comes to mind, a platform or a tool called MITRE ATT&CK Matrix. And what it does, it has kind of two things mixed in one. One, it has Lockheed Martin's cyber kill chain going from reconnaissance to impact on target, meaning as the adversary is watching the organization do their thing, information coming in and out, studying the firewall and everything, all the way to penetrating the network, to getting that information off the network or deleting information or just wrecking everything once they get in. And as you're walking across the cyber kill chain, the MITRE ATT&CK Matrix portion of it is also geared towards, based on historics, this is how they got into the system in terms of like the initial threat vector, initial access, and then persistence, and then all the other things that you're walking down to a conclusion.
Right.
Now, nowadays with AI and everything is getting a little bit more complicated, and the tools are being, sold between threat actors. But the methodology of how they use those tools, those unique fingerprints of how I use a tool and how you use the same tool is a little bit different. That's what
Right.
tells me versus you. But that is something that immediately comes to mind. The diamond model also is like how you could look at an individual intrusion or a break into a network and really dive into that individual event and
Mhm.
try to run it down. There's several others, but I won't suck up too much oxygen in the room. But those are the two things I would use from a CTI perspective to try to figure out, where they're going, who we're dealing with, to
Right.
help, digital forensics as they're helping me understand how they broke into the network
Gotcha.
and potentially what they're taking and where they're going to go next.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. Yeah, the MITRE attack framework is a resource that is definitely used to understand the techniques and procedures that adversaries use in regards to infiltrated systems. Also, on a blue team, defense side, MITRE defend is also what we use in regards to safeguard companies, assets, networks,
Right.
in regards to understanding what these adversaries are using in regards to infiltrating our systems and breaking in and doing whatever, God knows who what, um, in order to extract information. So good information. So on to the next. So just an introduction of the tool Autopsy. Autopsy is a free and open source tool that we use in cybersecurity that analyze all types of mobile devices and digital media, from our phones, from our laptops, from our uh, uh, smartwatches, um, iPads, uh, what Android, whatever, Android pads, uh, in regards to that nature. Autopsy meets the needs of hundreds of thousands of professionals in law enforcement, national security, and corporate investigation. So this is a tool that is used in different sectors um, of many organizations that could be useful to extract information to understand how cyber crime is happening on a daily basis.
Mhm.
So our workflow overview and case analysis. Our basic workflow in regards to using this tool will create and open a case for the data source that we'll investigate. So if we have a new case, we'll be able to use that to create a new, we'll be able to use this tool to create a new case, right? We'll select the data source that we'll analyze, configure the ingest module to extract artifacts and information in regards to the disk that we'll be using in regards to extract the information to find our findings. Review the artifacts extracted by the ingest modules. We have encryption on there. We have malware, just to name a few that we could select in regards to the information that we need to use to extract from our hard disk. And then we'll be able to create a report on our findings. Some case analysis regards to the case name that you wish to give it, right? So when we're working on a project or working on um, uh, a document, we want to, we want to name it as best as possible in regards to the subject matter that we're working on, so that it'll point directly to the case that we'll actually be working on. Base directory, the root directory that will store all the files and specific to the case, to the full path that will be displayed, right? Case type specifies whether this case will be local or will it be stored on a multi-user virtual machine, so that if I need to be able to get the information, or if Jones needs to be able to get the information, we'll be able to do it at the same time. Or is it just a single user? Do I need this information? This information pertains to me. I'm working on this finding, and no one else has the information or be able to access the information that I'm working on.
From an incident response scenario, I've worked in a couple before. This information, there will be a playbook in terms of
Mhm.
specific names of files that you can name it, to the point of if God forbid, got hit by a bus and I had to come in right behind you and I
Right.
was an expert in this tool, I could literally pick up where you left off and keep running with it. And then when you're looking at the overall incident response, because you have a lot of people involved in this, you got the incident commander, you have CTI, you have the threat hunters, and they break into different categories, like digital forensics people, you got network forensics, you got host network, people that work on the different aspects of it.
Mhm.
When I was involved, I was just able to look over somebody's shoulder because I literally couldn't touch the keyboard for legal reasons.
Right,
Because if
right.
something happens with the data,
Yeah,
then it could literally get thrown out of, out of the evidence chain, because like, well, was Jones, qualified, certified, and authorized to even
to be able, yeah,
touch the information? No, no, and no. Like, whoops, well, you literally just lost a law enforcement case because you compromised the information.
yeah,
So in the real world, you may actually know what you're doing with the tool, because I know what I am doing with it to an extent, but
right.
I may not be allowed to even put my
That's
hands on
that.
keyboard, right?
Yeah,
So that's something that the audience really needs to know. Be careful. Just because you have an interest and you think you know what you're
interest.
doing,
Right,
make sure you got permission.
right. Thank you for that, man.
Hmm.
Great information. So our workflow and overview and case analysis. This is the graphical user interface of the tool Autopsy, that is used. It says Autopsy has a user-friendly interface, which is true. To be able to navigate through this tool was very user-friendly. It was easy to navigate. It was it had a lot of clarity behind it, and it was just a fun tool to use to find findings and extract information um, regarding different scenarios and uncovering of information stored on a mobile device or a hard drive.
Hmm.
So we have a scenario here. Um, oh, I'm sorry. We have a scenario here where we use the autopsy tool, right, to perform an investigation. It says an employee was suspected of leaking confidential company data. To investigate this, a disk image of the employee's machine was provided, right? So a disk image of an employee was sent over for us to extract information to see if they leaked any company data. And we utilize this to find investigations. Like I stated before, as a digital forensics expert, you're more of a detective, right? So we're going in, finding findings, analyzing, making sure that we're going to the right source to be able to extract the information. Like you said, when we give this information back to our legal team or back to, any expert, this information and data has to be correct. Like I think you said, stated earlier, um, by having the authority to, you know, utilize this tool and finding this is valuable information that you want to present to experts, because this can be brought up in a legal case, when you're in the court of law, right? This could be a hit or miss or do or die um, situation in regards to someone's livelihood that could um could go right or wrong
Hmm.
in regards to these investigations. I know a couple of years ago, during the case, um you know Casey Anthony case, right, where um digital forensics was used. Not sure the tool that was used, but they used that tool to investigate information based off that computer, based off that hard drive to extract information. Now, I can't go into, uh, details of what information that was extracted, but information was extracted, um, and findings were found based off extracting information, using a digital forensics tool. Not saying that it was an autopsy tool, but it was a tool that was used in regards to extracting information to be able to explain or, elaborate on information that, happened on that device.
All right. Sounds good, man. Good info. Thank you for that.
So a sample case, this was a sample case that we used in regards to extracting information um, based off the scenario that was provided for us to extract information and provide you with information regarding a leakage um, in regards to a person in the company that may have caused, right? So we have samplecase.aut, which points to um, a very specific which points to a very specific extension that allow us to extract this information. So data source. Here it says data source can analyze multiple disk formats. Here we will identify different data sources that this tool can analyze. To add the data sources, we will use the data source button. So here, as you can see, this is our data source that we could select, right? So it says disk image or our VM file, right? So we'll add our disk image or virtual machine file to be able to extract, information regarding to the information provided. Local disk, right? That'll be our local disk on our machine. Um, and we have, more sources that are provided for us to be able to extract information in regards to detecting and analyzing uh, the information provided using this tool. So ingest module. I think we, I think I briefly described ingest module earlier, but ingest modules are Autopsy's plugins, right? It is designed to analyze and retrieve specific data from the drive. So metadata that is stored on the drive that can be extracted. So like I stated before, we have our encryption detection that we could select. We have our hash lookups that we can select. We have many different things that we can select to be able to extract this information off this drive to be able to find our findings or uncover our findings in regards to the case that we're working on. So we're looking at our graphical user interface using the Autopsy tool. So it says Autopsy interface is comprised of five primary areas. Some of the primary areas is our data source, where our disk information is stored. Views, where we find our findings, the results of the information that we find. Our tags, where we find we look at our keywords that uh you know be able to point to certain information. And our reports, as talked about earlier, that just gives us our information in a XML report
Mhm.
that'll be able to find our findings and extract in that one report.
And let me add something to this. So, like Glover said, this is an open source tool, which means anybody can download it from the internet, right? One, you get what you pay for. So, as it is free, you may not have all the robustness of a tool that you have to pay for. So that's number one. Number two, you definitely want to have the most current version that you have for Autopsy available and ready to go because, with technology changing rapidly, it may not talk to Autopsy that you're trying to plug into. And by the way, typically Autopsy is a part of in the Air Force, they call them flyaway kits. So you have pre-go bags set up. So as soon as something happens, you have this big Connex box of information or Connex box of equipment, and it goes with you to whatever the location is. Designated computers are set up to where you can actually do your analysis and do your forensics already there because you're in the investigation phase. You got to make sure that all the information is accounted for. The tools you're using are registered and approved by whatever local source it is before the investigation starts. Even the devices, because most people, again, you get this off, the open source internet on your personal computer, but that doesn't mean you should use your personal computer for an investigation.
Right.
That right there is a violation in of itself. So you could literally throw a case out the window by trying to quickly download an image or process an image and get all the sources of data listed on the slide right there. So that's just a little bit negative information.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Just being able to elaborate and explain like how to use this tool, right? Um, you know, some of this stuff can be used in regards to, helping us um navigate, on our journey how to use this tool, but in the organization, you know, you may compromise, certain policies and procedures in regards to stepping out of the boundaries by doing, basically your own thing in regards to um utilizing this tool.
Absolutely. You may have the best intentions, but you might go in a
Right,
totally different,
right,
they might go in
exactly.
the wrong direction with that,
Right,
but
direct, exactly. All right. So report, as I stated, before, if you can see, we have screenshots in regards to how to get to the report section. Um, the report creates a report of your findings and in multiple formats, enabling you to create data sheets for your investigation case. So when you in regards to solving and analyzing certain situations and problems, you'll be able to utilize this report in regards to the information being extracted from the hard disk to find your findings. Now, is everything going to be in this report? No, but you also have your tree viewer, which you'll be able to utilize in regards to investigating the remaining information off this disk drive to be able to analyze and um, answer, following questions that may pertain to the information that uh, you've found regarding this case. So here we have in our right bottom corner the autopsy forensic report in regards to the sample case that you can see, which is in the XML format. This information is also found in the tree viewer that you'll be able to utilize. So you can either utilize the report or the tree viewer for your investigation. So a question that, we've had in regards to the scenario regarding our findings, what is the number of detected removed files, right? So as I stated in the last, in our last slide, here is our tree viewer, right? This is also found in our report, right? So remove files, which will go to where our remove files in our recycle bin, right? So we have stated here 10 remove files, which has a combination of a lot of what we see here are images, right? You see the file extension here as .jpg, which lets us know that is a image file. We have desert.jpg, we have jellyfish.jpg, koala.jpg, which lets us know that those were detected files that we know that were removed in the scenario regarding our findings that we could find that, this individual had put in the recycle bin. So our user face number 2, which is our data source summary, which provides summarized information in 9 different categories. This overview of the total findings, diving deeper into the findings for specific artifacts, right? So this gives us a pie graph of what our file looks like, or our disk image looks like, which has a combination of different file types. We have images, videos, audio, documents, executions, unknowns, and others. And it gives us a percentage of what information has been allocated and unallocated on this disk drive. So we'll be able to see what information was used and what information was not used in regards to our findings. And another question that, comes up in regards to our investigation, that we may have, is what is the name of the install programs with the version number of 6.2.0.2962, right? So, as we stated, we use our tool to investigate install programs. And over here in our tree viewer, we look at install programs, right? And as we, comb through our our program names in our list, we find that, 6.2.0.2962 program name is Eraser. So Eraser is the name of the install program version regarding the name of the install program during our investigation.
All right. So that was a pretty good preview of what was going on. And what I would like to say for my people who are in CTI land, a lot of it involves the fact of when they get the report, we're not going to actually use that information necessarily as far as put it into our data with our data set right off the bat, because that is kind of raw data for us to use, right? It's got to be analyzed by the digital forensics people first before it can be used by us. So from our perspective, we are still looking through the threat reporting to try to figure out what adversary is going to go next. We're trying to figure out if, where in the kill chain they are. We're also waiting for them to get the report to us, and we're working with the incident commander, who's the person running the show, letting us know who we're supposed to coordinate with, the people that we are on our team, what our left and right boundaries are, because the one thing I said before, we don't want to overstep in terms of using our own equipment, but also at the same time, we don't these tools are open source, and open source information, again, you get what you pay for. It's easily accessible, but that doesn't mean that you should use it without getting permission. So those are the couple of key takeaways from my CTI guys. You would typically use this in an incident response sort of scenario where something happens, the entire team is called, and then you all go to the location with a kit for like a laptop. You have programs that you're also going out there with automatically, and then you're doing most of the investigation. So a lot of things are happening at once, but Glover did a great job, which we kind of lost him there, but don't worry, I'll go ahead and like take it home for us. um, he did a great job explaining the tool, how it works. What we didn't get to is that there's actually a video that was created of Autopsy being used online by Glover. He was nice enough to give us that walkthrough online that we'll make available attached to this video here. So I want to say thank you for tuning in. This has been Rough Cut episode number 2 in the bucket, and have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're watching this from. And you know what? We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.